Aesop's Fables, retold by Julie Harding, illustrated by Maria Voris. Focus question: what can people learn from Aesop's fables? The Fox and the Stork. The fox invited his friend the stork over to eat soup. When the stork arrived, the fox poured the soup into a flat dish. The stork was hungry, but all he could do was dip the tip of his long beak into the dish. The fox laughed and slurped up all the soup, while the poor stork was left with nothing to eat. The next day, the stork decided to return the favor and asked the fox to his home for dinner. The stork placed some tasty meat in a jar with a long neck and set it on the table. The fox eagerly tried to get to the meat, but he could not. The stork ate easily because his long beak could reach down into the jar. The hungry fox admitted that he had been wrong the day before. Moral: if you do mean things to others, they might do mean things to you in return. The Fox and the Crow. The hungry fox saw the crow fly to her favorite branch in a tree. In her beak, she had a tasty piece of cheese. The crafty fox made a plan and trotted over to the tree to talk to the crow. "Oh, Madam Crow, you truly are the prettiest bird I have ever seen," he said. This caught the crow's attention, and she looked down at the fox. "You fly so fast and so gracefully," the fox continued. "I bet you sing as beautifully as you fly." Now, the crow loved to hear compliments, so she decided to sing for the fox. She opened her beak, and the piece of cheese tumbled down to the fox's waiting mouth. When the fox was finished eating, he smiled up at the crow. "Thank you for the delicious snack," he said. "I got just what I wanted." Moral: do not trust strangers who try to flatter you. The Crow and the Pitcher. The crow had been flying all day, and he was very thirsty. He saw a pitcher that was half full of water and hurried toward it for a drink. The pitcher was too tall for the crow's short beak to reach the water inside. The crow tried tilting the pitcher, but it was too heavy to move. He then noticed pebbles scattered on the ground. He picked up the pebbles and, one at a time, began dropping them into the pitcher. Slowly, the water began to rise. It took a long time and many pebbles, but soon the water reached the top. The crow then drank all he wanted. Moral: doing things little by little is just as good as doing things all at once. The Dog and His Reflection. A dog was walking along happily with a nice piece of meat in his mouth. As he crossed a bridge over a stream, he glanced at the water below. Looking back up at him was another dog who also had some meat. The dog on the bridge wanted more, so he bent down and snapped at the other dog. As he did, his own meat fell from his mouth into the stream. The sad dog then realized that he had not seen another dog, only his own reflection. Moral: if you are always greedy for more, you might lose what you already have. The Peacock. When Peacock spoke, his strange voice made people laugh. Peacock wanted to sing beautiful songs like the nightingale, so he asked the goddess of animals for a nice voice. The goddess replied, "You are jealous of the nightingale, but you should not be. Your neck feathers shine with every color of the rainbow, and your tail looks like it is covered in gems." "Yes, but my voice sounds terrible," said Peacock. "No one is good at everything," scolded the goddess. "All living creatures have different gifts. The falcon is very fast, and the eagle is very strong. The parrot can speak different languages, and the raven is very smart. Yes, the nightingale has a pretty song, but you are big and beautiful. You are special just as you are." Moral: we all have different strengths. Treasure your own gifts and talents. The City Mouse and the Country Mouse. The poor country mouse decided to go on a trip to visit his cousin, the rich city mouse. The country mouse was surprised by how busy the city was, and he had never seen so many other mice living in one place. The city mouse decided to show his cousin around his fancy home. Everything looked shiny and new. The kitchen pantry was filled with plenty of fine foods. "Look at all this food!" exclaimed the country mouse. "You must eat very well." "Shh, speak softly," said the city mouse nervously. "There is a cat that lives here, and she is always hunting for mice." The country mouse decided he'd seen enough. He would rather live in the poor, quiet country than the crowded, dangerous city. He thanked his cousin and returned to his humble home. Moral: it is better to live simply in safety than to live in luxury and fear. The Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. A hungry wolf disguised himself as a sheep and visited a nearby pasture. A flock of sheep were grazing peacefully. The shepherd in charge of the sheep was fooled by the wolf's disguise. He opened the pasture gate and let the wolf in. The sneaky wolf found a little lamb to eat, but the shepherd saw what he was up to. He rescued the lamb just in time. The shepherd then chased the wolf out of the pasture and warned him not to come back. From that day on, the shepherd never let a sheep through the gate until he was sure it was real. Moral: the way things look is not always the way things are. Connections: writing and art. Write and illustrate your own fable. Start by thinking of an important lesson. Then use animals as characters to teach that lesson in a short story. Share your fable with the class. Social studies. What is a moral? How is each moral connected to its fable? Why are morals taught in stories? Discuss with a partner.